The CZ Media podcast is brought to you by Rancho Bravos Tacos. They make it really easy to get great tasting Mexican food. You can stop by any one of their 3 convenient locations, Capitol Hill, U District, Wallingford, or you can order through Uber Eats, Caviar, or Chow Now. You can also text RBT to the number 474747 and you'll get deals on tacos, burritos, and more. All of the information is in the show notes. Hello, everybody. I bet you guys missed hearing that. It's been too long since I've posted a show, but the sickness got to me.
When you got the plague, what are you going to do, man?
Oh man. I thought I was going to be fine. I thought it was going to be good. I thought that it was going to be a 2-day, a 48-hour thing. I don't even know what it was. I had a fever, and then I had it just felt like my face was going to cave in.
It was Captain Trips, Carlos. That was what it was. It was Captain Trips.
It was horrible. And so last year, I didn't get sick at all. I may have gotten a little bit of a cold, maybe like in June or so. But the year before, so 2008? So 2007, I was sick for about 6 weeks.
Whoa.
I got a ear infection.
Ugh.
And it's like, who gets ear infections? What adult gets ear infection?
I had them like crazy when I was in my grade school and middle school years. I actually had them.
I'm pretty sure that was my first ear infection.
Ugh.
So that was 2017.
Fun. Jesus.
2016, at the same time, I had an ear infection. So 2 years in a row.
Holy crap.
16 and 17.
Oh my God.
I had ear infections at the start of the year that I don't even remember Q1
Jeez.
of 2016 and 2017.
Good gravy.
Just done. So then last year I didn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I did different. Then this year, once March passed, I thought, okay, I'm in the clear.
You'd think, yeah.
Like I'm good to go. I'm not gonna get it again. But man, it got me. And this one was just weird. This one was this. Do you remember the episode of Tales from the Crypt with Beau Bridges and Jeff Bridges, where they're 2 doctors?
Yes.
And the last scene was of, I believe, Jeff Bridges on the operating table, who is paralyzed but still can feel everything and can still think.
Yes.
And Beau Bridges is like digging. That's what I felt. I felt like I was just laying on the couch, paralyzed, not being able to say anything, but I was just feeling all sorts of discomfort.
Yeah.
It was not good.
Yeah.
I did not like that at all. But luckily, it's all gone. But you know what? Here's the kicker. And this is just me being old. Halfway through my sickness, I start developing this little pain in my left big toe.
Okay.
It started off by just it felt like I had dropped something on it, maybe.
Man.
Yeah, like I had dropped something on it. It was just a little sore. Then the next day, a little more sore. The third day, it hurt to walk.
Holy crap.
The fourth day, my foot was swollen.
Oh my God. Was it gout? I mean,
I hope not.
Oh God. Gout's scary, man. My dad deals with it with some frequency, and it's like,
isn't like iodine what you got to do for gout?
I think so. I haven't had it, so I haven't had to deal with a cure for it. So I'm not sure.
Oh my goodness.
All I know is my dad has it sometimes, and it makes his foot balloon like. So who knows?
And that's like a joint thing, isn't it?
I believe so. Yes.
Oh my goodness! Now you're freaking me out.
Sorry. See, I'm a big ass hypochondriac myself. So you're like, we're gonna be like wallowing in our concerns about our health together.
Old age has made me that way.
Dude, you are not old.
I'm 40.
Dude, that's not old.
I am a legit 40. I am 40 and what month is this? April?
April, yeah.
I'm 40 and a half.
Oh, wow. Ooh, I'm older. I'm
When
not
I
going to
was-
spoil it, but I'm older.
I don't know what happened.
Where does the time go, dude? Where does the time go?
Here, you want to hear this crazy story?
Please do.
When I was 21, I was a machinist. I ran these big CNC equipment made.
Did you lose 80 pounds and have to deal with sort of a proto-film noir situation?
Almost.
Okay.
I did lose 30 pounds
Oh, hey.
in a week.
So it's like the machinist diet. You, Christian Bale, boom.
Afterwards, yes. I was working second shift. It was about 11. I remember it like it was yesterday. Like, I don't remember very many things with such detail and crisp reality as I do this particular story. It was about 11:30, and I'm up in our break room heating up my lunch, and my lunch was it tried to be a fancy salmon, like breaded salmon something.
Filet.
Yeah. But that at the time, my ex-wife had bought like at the equivalent of Aldi. They don't have Aldi's here. Have you ever heard of Aldi?
No, I haven't.
Aldi is actually a German company, I believe, but they're a grocery store that has their own products. They're
Okay. Like Kroger or
but they're like all like economical, like
Yes.
market basement. So when I was a kid, no one wanted to be seen at Aldi because you would be called the poor kid, and you didn't want your mom buying any lunch food from Aldi because it was all Aldi brand.
Oh, yeah.
Well, anyway, so we had these salmon, breaded salmon,
Croquettes.
Yeah.
Or fillets or something.
and I'm heating it up.
Mhm.
And then I just feel like someone hits me in the stomach with a baseball bat.
Oh.
I buckle over, the wind gets taken out of me, and I lay down for about 20 minutes.
Jeez.
I'm like, okay, I'm fine. I'm sweating deep, like soaked through my shirt, sweat.
Jeez.
And then this was on a Thursday. I went back to work. Friday, I felt like crap. Wasn't eating. Saturday, felt like crap. Ate even less. Sunday, even worse. Monday, they said, you know what? Maybe you should go to the doctor. So I went to our urgent care with my lovely HMO.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctor's poking my stomach, pokes on the right side.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost punch him in the face. And he's like, you have an ulcer.
Oh.
So he prescribes Nexium. I go home. This is like on a Monday. Tuesday, horrible. Wednesday, horrible. Thursday, I'm vomiting this thick yellow liquid that is
Holy
making half of my face numb.
Oh, my God.
Just numb.
Holy
Absolutely numb.
crap.
And not eating anything. By this point, I had not eaten anything in a week.
Oh, my heavens.
And then I'm thinking, man, this must have been some nasty salmon croquette Aldi
Yeah.
Aldi thing. So then, like Thursday or Friday, my ex-wife kept on saying, you got to go back to the doctor. I'm like, I'm fine. Like, just give me a second.
It's only a flesh wound.
Medic.
Okay, there's a punchline here.
Like, I'm crawling to the bathroom,
Yes.
but I'm telling her I'm fine.
Oh, yeah.
And I just wouldn't go. I would not go back to the doctor. I'm like, I'm fine. Just give me a second.
It'll get better.
So she calls my mom. And then I'm like, I'm a good Mexican boy.
Yes.
Like if your mom says you have to do something, you have to do it.
Yeah.
So my mom drove over to our place, I'm pretty sure I was laying on the bathroom floor when she came in.
Oh my God.
And she said, we're going to the hospital. So my dad half carried me to the car. And this is in February in Chicago.
Jeez.
There's like 10 feet of, well, not 10, there's like 5 feet of snow.
Good heavens.
So they take me back to the urgent care and they take one look at me and they say, go to the hospital. Like, we can't help you here. Go to the hospital, which was pretty close. Go to Copley urgent to the emergency room. We'll call them and let them know that you're coming.
Oh my God.
They didn't even look at me.
Holy cow.
So my parents took me to the emergency room. Mm-hmm. They wheeled me in, and I remember them checking me in, getting all my information. And within 45 minutes, I was in the operating room.
Oh my God.
My appendix had been burst.
Holy cow.
For a week.
See, when you were first telling me all that, I thought, oh my heavens, you are lucky to be alive, my friend. Jeez.
But the funny thing here is that a week is like, I'm not going to the doctor.
Oh my God.
I'm not going. I'm fine. Leave me alone. Like, I don't remember how many times my ex-wife said, go to the doctor. I'm like, go away. I just need to breathe here.
Oh my God.
Just give me a second. And I didn't go. And then, so, it was burst so bad that most people, when their appendix bursts, they're normal humans and they go to the doctor.
Yeah.
So they only have a small incision on their right side.
Yeah.
They cut me open from like the bottom of my sternum to the, like about 2 inches below my belly button.
Jeez.
Because everything inside me was infected.
Oh my heavens.
So there were some doctors in there playing with my guts. And that's pretty cool.
Oh, that was a lovely story, Carl.
I wonder how that compared to a Tom Savini effect.
There you go, man. At some point, there's got to be a Tom Savini effect involving some like yellow bile being puked up or something. Oh, there's the only there are a couple of, there's a famous vomit scene, of course, in Stand By Me, which is, that's kind of like the Rolls Royce of vomit scenes. But if you want to get into like some of the lower brow, like Gremlins, like a Gremlin, a 70s Gremlin equivalent of like a vomit scene, that would be Forbidden World from 1982, which is an Alien ripoff. And spoiler alert for a 37-year-old movie, the mad scientist actually removes his cancerous tumor and throws it into the monster's mouth because it's this big alien monster that's been like eating the whole crew and shit. And so the monster swallows the tumor, and then after about 5 minutes, the monster starts puking.
So he got
white
cancer.
Stuff. So, well, yeah, he just got totally. Apparently, he either got cancer super instantly, or just the tumor was just way too much, and he just got sick on it. This is the world of schlock horror, man. I've managed to come up with a direct beeline between your appendicitis and a fucking alien monster puking up white bile
That's
because
so
he
funny.
ate a cancerous tumor. But I diverge.
I wish that they had recorded my surgery. How cool would that have been?
Oh man, yeah. My ex-wife had surgery on her knee once, and it was fascinating to watch because they did videotape it. And
Nice.
they had this weird device that had like these fast-moving like teeth on it almost. And so it was like you didn't have any sound, but you saw her knee getting getting endoscoped, and you saw this thing in there chewing on like this strange matter that had built up in there that just was like sort of a congenital thing. And all I could hear in my mind was this thing going, and I'm watching it, and I'm like almost subliminally, I'm just going, my ex is looking at me like, what?
Like the Hellraiser Centibite that does that?
It looked like that, dude, like that, or like a little alien. Only it's like really small, so it'd have to be making that kind of twerpy, like,
That's so funny. Those, okay, I watch, like, I'm addicted to YouTube. Are you addicted to YouTube?
I can go down YouTube rabbit holes readily, yes.
I like watching those Operation YouTube videos and like the pimple popping videos and the ingrown toenail videos.
God, I will neither confirm nor deny that I've watched a pimple popping video or two in my time.
Why is that so? It's what's the word I'm looking for?
It's strangely alluring. It's strangely addictive.
Like, I want to use the word satisfying.
Well, there's some catharsis to a popped
Catharsis,
pimple.
that's the word.
It's cathartic.
It is. So I'm a big boxing fan, and there was lots of boxing this past weekend. And one of these guys that I was watching fight had this humongous pimple on his lower back.
Oh my God.
And I just kept on thinking, how come someone in his corner does not just pop that pimple?
Well, those fuckers. Oh, sorry, another F word. We're past PG-13 now. My apologies.
That's fine.
They hurt, man.
Like
Yeah.
like they should have just popped that pimple so that he forgot the pain that he was feeling getting hit, and then just focused it on this pimple.
There you go. And he might have totally kicked ass.
He could have. That could have been.
That could have been his rally.
It could have been. That's all I was thinking as I was watching this guy fight. This dude had a full on boil that needed to be lanced on his back. If I was in his corner, I would have popped it.
Oh my God.
I would, like, maybe not like on purpose, but I would have definitely like flicked it really hard.
If you flicked it hard enough, it would have released on its own.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Or like scratched it or something.
Ah, man.
And it would have been
Just sort of like patted him on the back with a little bit of an extra squeeze.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Like it deserved it. This thing was so huge, it deserved it.
Oh, good heavens.
Well, there's only a few people in Seattle that can come back with a 1980 horror movie reference. And one of those people here in Seattle is my guest today, Tony Anthony. Which would you like?
Tony K is just fine.
Tony K, the famous Tony K.
The legendary Tony K.
Writer for various publications.
Yeah, I write for a couple of websites. Yeah, music, film websites.
Music, yeah, big in music, big in film. Interviewer.
Not big in, but just big into.
I'll say big.
You're so sweet, Carlos. I'm going to get all verklempt. Oh, but yeah, I mean, and that's, your show is very local focused, and that's a lot of what I'm writing about is very local focused.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Is like I'm not really trying to be. I'm just trying to be known in Seattle.
That's the idea.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
So I want to bring people that are doing super. How about this? I want to bring people on the show that I think are doing cool, interesting things, and top amongst that is yourself.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
So I've known of you probably since the first time I went to Crypticon, which is now probably five or six, maybe more than that.
Yeah, I started doing panels in 2012, I think it was. So this coming Crypticon will be my 8th one.
Pretty close to the beginning.
Yeah. Cool.
And the very first Tony K is, okay, this dude's wearing shorts, a long sleeve shirt, and a tie.
It's my misspent English schoolboy look is what it is.
Well, how are you,
It was
sir?
hot. Yeah, I'm good. I'm happy to
Things
be
doing
here.
good?
Yeah, doing great.
No, I'm so thankful. Thank you again for taking time out of your schedule to be on the show.
Thank you for inviting me to play in the sandbox. I dig it.
Hey.
I can't come up with quite as amazing stories as Cody's Uber stories, but we'll see. I have some pretty good ones though. So. Her story was kind of, she's not going to listen to this, but I was expecting something a little bit more. Ah, interesting.
So basically her story was that two people were, this
Massively
one woman
wasted.
Yeah, super wasted. I was like, I don't know. She has a couple more, like, as you can see on my board here. Of the things that we need to talk about. Mm-hmm. So the Uber is right up there.
Oh yeah.
She's a big Ted Bundy fan.
I watched the miniseries recently. That was very interesting. Not really anything
New.
revelatory, but it was really, interesting and deeply unsettling. And also, that's just a whole nother ball of wax.
I didn't know a whole lot about that. I grew up in Chicago.
See, I'm a Northwest boy. I've lived here all my life,
so
I had the whole play-by-play, and I'm just old enough to have cognizant memories of the news frenzy that surrounded what this guy was and what he was doing, which was crazy.
Yeah. So the serial killers that I knew were primarily were Richard Speck, knew of, and then Andrew Cunanan.
Oh wow!
Like my wife didn't know anything about Andrew Cunanan.
Oh my god!
But what is it? American? Who did the whole story on Versace?
I don't remember.
You haven't seen it on Netflix?
No, I haven't.
So it was the same people that did the series of OJ.
Oh,
with Cuba Gooding. Mm-hmm. What was it? American? Well, it's like AMC maybe. They did a whole series on the death of Versailles. It's actually called the Death of Versailles. Yeah,
actually, it's on Netflix.
Yeah,
it's on my queue somewhere. But yeah,
it's super. Like when we watched it, I went back and I thought, I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah.
So he had started off killing people in Minnesota, I think, and then he killed a billionaire in Chicago. And he killed more people on the way down to Florida, where he eventually killed Versace. But like I knew about him. Like my wife is a Northwest girl as well. She didn't know so she didn't know too much. But then she also knew of Green River. I didn't know about Green River.
Oh yeah, Gary Ridgway.
Yeah. Why don't they make a movie about him?
I think somewhere they have. I keep on thinking that somebody's made a Green River Killer movie.
Sometimes I get him confused with BTK.
Yeah.
They're kind of similar.
Yeah, that's true.
Except BTK is Ohio.
I think so, yeah.
There's been a lot of serial killers in Ohio.
I tell you. Well, there've been a lot here too, you know. I mean, you've got Bundy, you've got Gary Ridgway.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of like serial killer superstars. Oh god. Yeah, this is more Kim Douthit is one of the wonderful panelists at Crypticon, and she's doing a true crime panel, I think, at this year's Crypticon. She would be someone to really like pick the brain of on this topic. Yeah, actually, you should try having her.
You know, I started. Do you listen to any of the true crime stuff?
Actually, not really. Honestly, no.
It's so about a year and a half ago, I started listening to a podcast called Sword and Scale, a true crime one. And the first one that I listened to was about a guy who I think he got convicted, but he was on this cannibal forum, this chat room.
Whoa.
And had these very detailed conversations with other people about how he wanted to kidnap kids and then ultimately
devour
kill,
them.
cook, and eat them.
Oh my god!
So this is the very first Sword and Scale podcast, a Sword and Scale podcast that I listened to, and I'm like, why am I filling my brain with this? Like, this kind of bummed me out. But then, like, the next one that I listened to was just like, I don't know, some just regular good old breaking and entering and killing somebody, a la or Clockwork Orange.
Yeah,
and then I just ultimately within 4 or 5 months, I listened to about 5 years worth of true crime podcasts.
It's I can go down rabbit holes with podcasts. I really don't do much, if any, true crime. But as far as movie related podcasts and stuff, I'm all about those.
Lately, what I've been doing is there's a podcast called the No Sleep Podcast.
I've heard of it. Yeah,
it's a Reddit thread where I don't know if they're aspiring writers or people write ghost stories and like scary stories. They post them to this Reddit account, and then the No Sleep Podcast has voice actors that will go and produce them.
Oh, cool.
So like they have like 6 or 7 actors that will go and read for it. And I go to sleep with that every night. I will put my headphones in and then just go to sleep. And I've conditioned myself to do this so much that I cannot go to sleep if I don't have headphones in.
Oh my God.
Which is probably a bad thing.
I would say that's a pretty bad thing.
But I just can't. And actually I'll deviate here for a little bit. I was listening to the Richard Ramirez biography, Night Stalker. They wrote a bunch of books about him.
Oh yeah.
I was listening to one particular book, and I would listen to it as I'm going to sleep, fall asleep, and then wake up maybe like at 5 or 6 in the morning, and then hear, and as he's cutting the throat of this woman. And then I would just be awake. I'm like, what's going to happen? And I'll be awake for a little bit, but then I'd fall back to sleep. It took me about 3 months to listen to that whole book. But then this is where my brain went.
Okay.
I am pretty sure. I'm sure you've seen the movie Seven 1,000 times.
I've seen it a couple. Yes.
Okay. I am pretty sure that the government knows how many times people have listened to books on Audible. So in my head, I'm thinking, if there are any crimes slightly similar,
who's this guy that's listened to this podcast?
There's going to be
times?
There's going to be some FBI agent saying, Carlos Zamora in Seattle, Washington has listened to about 350 hours of Richard Ramirez books.
There's a pretty good biopic about Ramirez that was actually directed by a local director named Megan Griffiths with Lou Diamond Phillips playing.
Is that good? Should I watch it?
It's good. I mean, it sounds like damning with faint praise, but it's a good, solid B movie. I would call it a good, solid B movie in the way that you used to have good, solid B movies, which I guess, Netflix and Amazon streaming are kind of becoming that place now where you get actually good quality movies. And just because they're going straight to video or Netflix, it's no longer an arbiter of how crappy they are. It's like, it's just, it's so impossible to get something that's not a $200 million superhero movie into a megaplex that,
well, I think that a lot of that is that, Netflix is just the highest bidder.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, I talk to my friends sometimes about this and they're like, oh, this movie sucks because it's on Netflix. It's like, Netflix did not commission this movie.
Yeah.
It's like, they made this movie. Someone wanted to sell it.
Exactly.
Person just happened to be the
highest
that
bidder.
highest bidder.
Yeah.
This could have easily have gone to any of the other studios. They just didn't want it.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. I think it's indicative a lot about how most people don't know how anything works.
Oh, I know. Well, and it's really interesting because that's like, it's so funny because it's like so old school for like TV, anything to be stigmatized.
Yeah.
But we're in an era where like Oscar winning actors are like, give me a good TV show. Give me a good TV show. It's like the whole game has been upended. And it's like, it's not a stigma for whatever you're doing to go direct to video as much as it used to be anymore.
Right.
Especially if like you said, Netflix is ponying up some mega cash to, throw down on that.
Adam Sandler got how much? 50 mil?
Jeez.
To do
that ridiculous 6 thing.
That was the first one he did.
Oh, Jesus.
Whatever that one was called.
Was the second one Ouch My Balls?
Hey, I'll be more than happy to make dopey movies for Netflix for 15 to make 6 of them for 50
tell me
mil.
About it.
Although, have you seen his latest stand-up?
No, I haven't.
Do you like comedy? Do you watch comedy?
I do a bit of I'm not as caught up as I'd like to be.
Like Netflix is doing a ton with comedians and their specials.
Oh yeah, they've got a ton.
Specials. And the new Adam Sandler one, which is called 100% Fresh, I think it's hilarious. It is what made Adam Sandler funny, which is pretty much songs.
Yeah.
But they're just so funny. I laugh like a complete nutnik as I'm watching it. But some of them are good, like the Sandy Wexler movie for the Adam Sandler on Netflix. Yeah. I enjoy that. I thought that was funny. He just plays his agent, I think.
Yeah,
in his goofy way. Some of them are really dumb, but no, Netflix is. I'm pretty. I watch network TV maybe 15% of the time. Mm-hmm. Then the rest of my time, I would say 70% is YouTube of what I watch.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it is Netflix or Amazon.
Yeah. I would put that. I watch in a year, maybe 1% of my viewing is network TV. Yeah. I almost never watch it.
It's so boring. It's all the same.
Well, yeah. And we're at a point right now where we have so many different entertainment choices that the networks are like, they're pretty much dinosaurs at this point, you know?
Well, like they're trying to play it mega safe.
Mm-hmm.
So everything is exactly the same.
Yep.
And I don't know. I don't think that's sustainable over the next decade.
I would think not. I mean, the record industry was going through the same thing and just was not. It was this big lumbering beast that just was not getting into synchronization with the modern world. And I mean, think of all the opportunities that the major labels lost when things like streaming started to kick in, and when you had indie artists who could go on to the ancient days of MySpace, but they could go onto MySpace and sell like mega copies without any label interference. I mean, that's how the Arctic Monkeys became major label stars. They had hundreds of thousands of hits on their MySpace page and sales on their music, and the next thing you know, the major labels came calling. It's the whole it was the whole big lumbering old business is trying to grab onto the coattails of those who are moving rapidly forward.
The creators, I guess you could say.
Yeah
Like it just I laugh that I was complaining about this the other day, that Netflix used to be like $7 to stream.
Yep.
Like just to stream. And now I think I'm paying like 16.
Yeah.
And I was complaining about it for a bit. But then I'm thinking, okay, there's been some pretty awesome Netflix only exclusive content.
Oh, hell yeah.
Like, have you seen Big Mouth on Netflix?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh my God.
I've seen a few. I mean, I've seen a few of the movies that are
it's a
Netflix
cartoon.
only. Oh, wow.
It's a cartoon. Like, just watch one episode. We'll talk after you watch one episode of this cartoon called Big Mouth.
Okay.
On Netflix. They've had 2 seasons. It's a cartoon with Nick Kroll and Mulaney. Who's his first name? He's a comedian, New Yorker. John Mulaney, David Mulaney.
I think it might be John.
So
this is a little bit of a blind spot for me. So.
It's the reason that I want you to watch is it's because we were talking earlier about Irreversible.
Yeah.
Okay, now Big Mouth isn't this
from Adam Sandler to Irreversible?
Yeah. But the shock value in Irreversible is pretty high at the time.
Absolutely.
Okay. Big Mouth, equally as high shock value for a cartoon now.
Whoa. And there's a lot of envelope pushing with animated stuff now.
Oh my God. This show is about 7th graders. It's animated. It's a cartoon. 7th graders that are going through puberty. And it's just in the second episode, a 7th grade girl gets her first period while on a school field trip to the Statue of Liberty.
Oh God.
And her friend buys her a I Love New York sweatshirt that she then uses as a diaper.
Oh my God. Can we talk about Shakespeare now?
And that's not even the worst of it. There is what is
well, puberty is an ugly damn thing.
You know what? So as I'm watching this, I'm laughing like a complete idiot, like a complete moron. I'm laughing watching this whole thing. But the visual representation of puberty in this cartoon is that they do it in the form of a hormone monster. So these 7th graders get assigned by the puberty council. They get assigned these hormone monsters. So
it's like their hormone familiar, I guess.
Yeah. So the show centers around two boys. They're best friends, and then they have one of a girl is their other friend. But these 2 boys, one of them gets puberty before the other one. So he's had his hormone monster for a while.
Yeah.
And his hormone monster is like telling him to whack off every chance he can to bang everything that is possible, like everything. And then the other guy, he's developing a little slower.
Mm-hmm.
But just like you said, the envelope pushing that they're doing in an animated series about 7th graders masturbating and ejaculating for the first, it's just in cartoon and with these voices are just hilarious.
I would think so, and I would think it probably amplifies the discomfort factor that it's animated. Sometimes seeing something that wiggy animated like makes it even worse.
What's so brilliant about their show is that they acknowledge that, and on a couple times they break the fourth wall. They look straight into the camera, and they're like, "Could we have gotten away with this if this was not an animated feature?" It's just so funny. Well, the whole point of this conversation is that the new stuff, the edgy stuff, it's not coming from network.
The networks, no.
It's like the new show on NBC is about a woman who has a bar in her backyard and she gets caught from her landlord. And hilarity ensues.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just so boring. Like even the like the beloved network shows like Modern Family. Which maybe were good 5 years ago, but that now are pretty much all the same.
Yeah.
And This Is Us.
Yeah.
Did you like everyone loved This Is Us, but This Is Us is the exact same formula as ER in the 90s.
Oh, totally.
Where every episode they just want you to feel mega feelings and just cry. Why do I want to do this? I don't care.
Well, and not just that. I mean, it just points back up to, the bigger the entity is that's creating the art, the more watered down it gets, and it has to be, because it's a high stakes game for these guys. It is a total high stakes game. So it's very interesting, just pondering all of this with Netflix. And, and I think the other thing is, again, what are major studios usually making when they put out films? They're making tentpole action movies and superhero flicks and stuff that's kind of lowest common denominator. And that's what they're doing with, why, thank you, with TV.
That was a wine break.
That was a wine break. And fortunately, not much of one. We can keep talking and keep drinking at once. Carlos has a fine wine selection, by the way, just FYI. I think the world needs to know that.
And you know what? My wife does not share my wine tastes.
Well, yeah, we were talking Malbec, and she's not into it.
She's not into it. So, I my side of the wine cabinet is pretty much always full. I have some pretty good stuff in here.
Cool.
I dig it. Well, I'll open up one of mine next show.
Oh, you're gonna have me back! Yay!
What was I gonna say? Oh,
we're talking.
You know what?
Wines.
I was going to start with asking you how sad you were about Notre Dame.
Oh, Jesus. That was heartbreaking to watch that cathedral, that spire.
Your reaction just now just shocked me. For some reason, I thought you were going to say it's just a building.
It is, but yet it's more than that, I mean, this is a structure that has endured for hundreds of years. I mean, Jesus.
800 years old.
Thank you. The Hunchback of Notre Dame, for heaven's sake. That structure, and by extent, that story, and by extent that structure is it's like cultural history. It's a cultural universal. It'd be like if the Statue of Liberty, burned down or crumbled. It's that much of an iconic structure. And
would your thoughts be thinking at all about the religious part of it? Or just the historical?
Not really. I think, and that's the thing. There's been a lot of fixation on the religious aspects of what the structure represents and yada yada yada. But I think that it just, on a pure cultural and artistic level, it's a huge loss. I mean, that's what it comes down to. And there are certain things, although ironically enough, I would argue against the Confederate flag, and statues of racist white generals who enslaved people. But in this particular instance, I feel like there's some artistic precedence to this. There's like an artistic importance to the structure, and I would imagine also an architectural significance, although I'm not like an architecture expert by any measure. But I mean, it's, it
took them hundreds of years to make it.
Tell me about it. And just watching it go up in flames in just a few hours, that was that was a bummer, man.
I'll come at this from the other side, where I'm a non-practicing religious person.
Mm-hmm.
He was raised, I have my, you could call it core beliefs.
Yeah.
But like, I don't go to church. And my mom, every time I talk to my mom, she says, "Did you go to church?"
You're like, "No."
I was like, "No,
sorry,
too hungover."
Which is a damn good reason not to go to church, in my estimation.
Yeah. That's not good. That's not good at all.
Religion.
I was thinking of it in, so this is where I'm coming from. So where my grandparents were from, it's this tiny little little tiny community outside of a biggish city in Mexico, where all of the houses are adobe.
Oh, wow.
People are pretty poor. Actually, my grandpa used to get mad at me because when I was a kid and we used to go to Mexico all the time as a kid, I would go to the little store, buy handmade firecrackers, and then I would go to people's houses and shove the fireworks in their adobe homes and then light them on fire.
Oh, my God.
And then like blow up half of their house.
You little bastard. Jesus.
Like I used to do this a lot. And then my grandpa spoiled the grandkids. Like my grandpa would never ever, like he was a mother to his kids.
Uh-huh.
He was very strict. Like I saw my grandpa flat out backhand slap one of my uncles who was 35 years old.
Jeez.
But to the grandkids, we could get away with murder. But my grandpa,
but that's always the way, you know?
My grandpa took me aside and he's like, "You know what? Stop putting fireworks at people's houses." Well, anyway, so it's this little tiny town.
Okay.
They're farmers, but they had this humongous Catholic church in their town.
Oh, wow.
Like big cathedrals, pretty big. It was like the biggest thing in this whole little town. Mm-hmm. And then I just kept on, like, since I was a little kid, I started thinking this little town is pretty poor. Like they can eat, they just have to work really hard. But why is there such a huge Catholic church? They had a regular church.
Yep.
Not a Catholic. They just had a regular old Christian church. And it was as a humble of a building as the
adobe houses.
Yeah. And like, that's where my grandparents used to go. Cause ironically enough, I'm Mexican and I'm not Catholic or like soccer. But the Catholics had this humongous church. And I'm like, does this town really need a 100-foot arched cathedral?
Yeah. Good question.
And no, they don't. They don't. So this sort of set me off on this whole way of thinking of, and I call Jesus baby Jesus.
Uh-huh.
To me, baby Jesus. It's like all these people who built these cathedrals, whether it be Notre Dame or whether it be Sacré-Cœur or whether it be, I don't know, the one that in DC that the presidents go to. It's like, this wasn't to, like, baby Jesus didn't instruct these people to do this.
This is true.
This is mega narcissist man thinking I am going to.
One could argue that religion is the entire the entire point of religion is that it's a construct by man to aggrandize himself,
Right.
beyond this world.
Yeah, because I don't think baby Jesus cares about how big this building is.
I'd say that's a pretty good guess.
He doesn't care that you kept, because supposedly in Notre Dame they had the crown of thorns, and they had a piece of the cross, and they had like these relics, right?
Yeah.
They had the nails. Like, I don't think Jesus cares about that stuff.
In fact, they might be a little bit creeped
Like,
out.
he might be like, you know what? I remember when they drove those things in my hands, and I'm
that
okay
shit
without
hurt.
it.
Do you have to, and if he's visiting Notre Dame, it's like, there's, baby Jay is just kind of hanging. It's like, oh, trigger warning,
yeah.
trigger warning for Jesus.
It's like, not cool, dude. Not cool, Pope Francis.
Oh,
I don't want this.
Can we, like, I don't know, like maybe one of the loaves that I turned into fish or something, or like the water that I turned into wine,
Yeah, so that's like my whole thing. It's like, yes, it's sad that this building.
Yeah.
I mean, and does it mean something? Yes, but why there's no and I'm talking about people who believe here, like their beliefs are not diminished because some building burnt down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if it is, then you need to reassess.
Exactly. There is something wrong with your priorities. Totally.
Yeah. But I mean, I get the whole thing that, it's important because it's old and you want to keep old stuff around. And
well, and also it was, again, it took many, many decades to finish building it. And it's a testament to, I guess, to the sturdiness and drum tight aesthetics of the construction that it lasted for as long as it did. So I'm looking at it from that standpoint. I'm a lapsed Catholic myself. I'm an ex-Catholic myself, and I'm still recovering from that. So
I've been to mass a couple times. A Catholic church in Shoreline hired me to do communion, baptism.
Dude, I was an altar boy,
communion.
man. I was an altar boy for a year or two. And you know what really sucked is it was on Sunday mornings. And way back when I was an altar boy in grade school and junior high, they had on Channel 11 Sci-Fi Theater. And they would always show classic science fiction movies that would start at noon. And we went to mass at 11 o'clock. And we would always get back at 12:15. And I was so fucking peeved because I missed like the first 15 minutes of every classic science fiction movie from the 50s and 60s that was televising on like, syndicated TV. So first 15 minutes, A Day the Earth Stood Still, nope. War of the Worlds, nope. all these classic science fiction movies, so that's probably the reason why I'm a lapsed Catholic and why I rejected religion is because of that.
I would probably say that that's probably part of the reason that you're so analytical is because as you're watching these things that have already started, you then have to fill in the gaps of what happened those prior 15 minutes or so.
Or I was so hardcore that I'd have to like end up, and God would, I'm old enough to remember when there was no such thing as home video. I remember back when you only had 4 channels on TV, kids. We watched 4 channels and we liked it. Yeah.
Isn't it? We liked it. I think you have to slam your hand down when you
there
say
you go.
Liked
exactly. But yeah, I mean, the thing that really is always, I was always enchanted. I mean, literally my first childhood memories are of watching a horror movie, like watching the Boris Karloff 1932 Mummy while I'm sitting on this really weird olive green 70s couch with my mom, and we're feeding our dog popcorn and ice cubes, and there's Boris Karloff in bandages taking a little walk. I remember that from but so
well, I think that horror does that in general.
Yeah,
it's so visceral. Is that the word that I'm thinking?
Yeah,
of?
that's
it provides
that hits it. Yeah,
because my first movie that I remember having a visceral reaction to is Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, I can understand.
When did that come out, in 85?
Yeah,
I don't think I saw it until maybe like 92.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So if it came out in my parents had a movie ban on me. They would have never taken me to that. Actually, this is slightly pathetic. The very first movie that I saw at the theater was Mortal Kombat.
Oh man.
Which was, I don't know, what was I, like 17?
Oh wow.
Yeah, my parents were actually, it wasn't even a religious thing. My mom would say, "We pay for cable. Why am I going to give you money to go watch a movie someplace else?" That's what she used to say. And then she would yell at me to clean the TV. She would say, "If you're going to watch that, as long as you do, clean it."
Oh my God. I never had to deal with that one. My parents were actually, my mom, bless her, she's partially to blame for my absolute fixation on horror movies, because when I was a kid, my dad was in the Army and he was stationed in various corners of the universe. And my mom was at home alone with just me and my brother a lot. And, you know, back in the late 70s and early 80s, what did you do to take care of, you know, to kind of babysit your kids, as it were? What you did was you took them to a movie theater.
Right.
And I was obsessed with like Fangoria and Famous Monsters of Film. And so I'd be like, Mom, Famous Monsters says that The Incredible Melting Man's great. Let's go.
And she would take you.
She took me to these movies, and I'd drag her to those movies. And I mean, I don't know if you've seen The Incredible Melting Man, but it is pretty,
probably snippets of it.
It's like gleefully nasty, and it's absolutely horrible on many, many levels.
Horrible as in
well, I would say entertaining horrible.
Okay.
I think that watching the Mystery Science Theater 3000 version of The Incredible Melting Man, aside from a few slow spots in the movie for real, it's redundant, because I think that they were trying to make a kind of weird brain damaged satire of horror anyway. But my mom, anyway, these were the types of movies I would drag my mom to. And it was in an age where we didn't have home video. It was still a few years down the line. And so there was very much a mentality of, if you wanted to see a specific movie, especially, you know, one that wasn't playing in multiplexes or in, you know, larger theaters, you had to see it. I was a military brat, of course.
Yeah.
So the thing was, if you saw, back then in the 70s, they used to screen films. They would only screen like a film one night at a theater. They had like a dozen theaters on base, and they would screen like one film one night and then another one.
Where in the world is this?
This is in Fort Lewis and Madigan and McCord Air Force Base. This is back in the right here.
Okay.
I'm a total local boy. But there was kind of like this tier of crap. So if you're like a horror fan, everyone has their tier of crap, but this was like an established one if you were living in this area at that time, which is, there were certain horror movies that would show up, that would like cross over and show up in the multiplexes, where you'd see like Halloween or Phantasm or something like that.
Yeah,
and
more commercial stuff.
Yeah, and then after that was the theater that also helped like create my obsession with schlock movies, which was a theater called the Parkland Theater in Tacoma that I grew up in, that always showed double features. That was kind of the next layer of shitty. If you wanted to see real bottom of the barrel shit that was too poor even for the Parkland Theater to show, then you would go to the military theaters, because you'd get a screening of something for one day and you never knew if you'd ever see it again.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's where I saw like the first time I saw Message from Space, the Japanese Star Wars knockoff from 1978.
Okay.
I saw that on a big screen at the Madigan Theater. It played for one day in 1978, and I was convinced I would never see it again. So I was there.
And your mom was there.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
It was so funny. I drag her into these, you know, not so much Message in Space, which was or Message from Space, which is pretty wholesome, but I would drag her into a lot of horror movies, and they would get bad, like really extreme. And I'd be like embarrassed. My mom is the closest thing to a saint of any human being I've met. She's just like incredibly sweet. And so here's this wholesome, you know, sweet little woman who's sitting in this seat and watching, like, you know, a dude who's melting into candle wax, like eating people's limbs and stuff. And we would come out of these movies. Every time we'd come out of these movies, she would say, "Anthony, I can't believe you made me sit through that." And then the next weekend, we'd be watching some other wet fart piece of crap horror movie at one of the military theaters. It was a glorious time.
I'm just jealous that your mom did that.
Dude, tell me about it. I know how lucky I am. I really know how lucky I am.
I was like, no freaking way I would be able to get. I don't know. I blame it on the fact that my parents were old.
See, that does make a difference.
Like I was old when I came around. My dad was already like 42. My mom was. My mom was mid 30s. So they just did. They just didn't have the energy. I don't think. Like my memories are my dad working 12 hours a day.
Jeez.
And then coming home and then just going to bed. And then that's it. And then going to church on Sundays. And then every now and then going to a picnic or something on a Saturday.
You could really get him to stretch his horizons to go to a picnic.
Yeah, but it's like my dad never took me to I don't blame them for anything. They just didn't know.
Yeah.
Like they never they like no ball game, no catch.
Yeah.
And like that would have been super cool if they had done that. But I feel bad about that. Okay, I don't feel bad about that now. That's a bad way to say it. I lament that now. But none of my friends had that.
Yeah.
My super best friend growing up, his dad worked just as much as my dad did. He was never around, but he made more money than him. So he got to do a little bit more stuff, but his dad was never his dad was there, just not there.
Yeah.
And then his mom, he could just do whatever he wanted. Like his mom never put any boundaries on him. So anytime I wanted to do something nuts, I would go to
your friend's house.
To go to that friend's house. And then
you
we would just do.
You could do something nuts.
Yeah, but I just didn't have that. And I remember, I had to have been about, I had to have been about like 12 when I saw Nightmare for the first time. And that was because a cousin had recorded it because at this point it was already on like HBO or something. It was already on TV. And that is the only movie that scared me so much where I'll say I did not sleep for a couple days.
I can totally see that. I was a little older when I first saw it. I was about 17, I think, when I saw it. But even then I was like, wow, this movie has quite the impact. I was really impressed
So
with
what
it.
scene did got you? Do you remember?
I think the thing that generally got me is I loved how it utilized dream logic, where one of the most wonderfully airtight things about that movie is if characters do like stupid horror movie things, they're in the middle of a dream. You don't always do logical stuff, when you're in the middle of a dream. When you're cycling through a nightmare that you're living through in your head as you're asleep, you don't always do logical things. And so, characters will wander into places that they shouldn't, and just things like that. And I think the inevitability of that pull of the subconscious is kind of like the overarching thing about the first movie that just like really got to me.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes total sense.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the first one. The others are okay.
I have not seen all of them.
Oh, really?
I've seen 1, 2, 3. What's 4? Child.
Dream Child or something.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah. I've seen them all, but the only ones that I really remember are the first 3.
Yeah.
I still haven't seen New Nightmare yet, which I've heard is quite good, but yeah.
Which is like
that's like the meta one that was made in the 90s, kind of well after number 6 or whatever. Where
was that the one where Wes Craven was actually in?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I
saw
haven't
that
seen
one.
it, so I don't know anything about it.
What's weird about those is that the makeup got worse as they kept on going through.
Yeah.
It's like what made the first one so awesome was that the appliances that they put on him were grimy and slimy and shiny. And then he kept on getting smoother and more refined.
That's what happens when a character, it devolves from a source of fear and menace to a one-liner factory, Yeah.
And
that's what happened. I mean, and that sort of approach has its charms, But yeah, God, see, now that makes me want to watch the movies now and just check out the evolution of the Freddy makeup on that.
Yeah, the Freddy makeup for New Nightmare, I hated it.
I've seen pictures of it.
It's not good.
Yeah.
It's just like, stick with what worked.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a brief second
To pay the bills.
to pay the bills. Yes, let's take a quick second to hear from our sponsor, and we'll be right back.
When I needed updated content for my small business website, I was worried because I didn't have a very large marketing budget. But then I found Carlos at CZ Media. He gave me a budget-friendly quote and delivered the high-quality content I was looking for. I would recommend you check him out. All of his information is in the show notes.
And we're back.
Hoorah.
I think that ad was for me.
Really?
I think it was.
Cool.
So if you need pictures, portraits, headshots, product shots, you said you're familiar with Rancho.
Yes.
Have you eaten there?
Yes.
I'm not going to ask if you like to.
Rancho Bravo, the best Mexican food I've ever had. Hey, you know what? There is nothing like I actually live in Wallingford, and the Rancho Bravo in Wallingford has been plenty of salvation for me after many a late night debauching.
You know, they closed the U District one. Well, but you didn't go to that one, so you went to Wallingford.
Yeah, the Wallingford one,
it's the Wallingford kitchen is probably the best kitchen.
Given the quality of the food, I would say so.
Yeah, and then they have some people there that really care about what they're doing.
Well, and I love, again, they stay open late. I think that's awesome.
No, it's good. It's I've been doing all of their media for a bit, but I had to scale back on creating content because so if you go and you look through all of their content, I've eaten all of that. That's not sustainable. I can't do it.
Hey, you know what? It's a product you believe in, man.
I eat it all.
Hell yeah.
And I'm just going to go ahead and say it. They're going to be doing something new and making handmade tortillas.
Oh, wow. I'm in.
They're going to start at the Capitol Hill. Because it's quite an ordeal to make handmade tortillas.
Yes.
But they're going to start doing that. But it'll get to the Wallingford location. But yeah, so I do, if your business needs content, I take pictures, I make videos.
And they're damn fine pictures and videos too, by the way.
You know, I do what I can.
Hey, you know what? Some of the loveliest pictures of Mexican food I've ever seen, Carlos.
You know, I've put tons of research into that, which is nuts. And then I try to do something a little different. Well, we've spoken a ton about horror. And actually, you've said the word schlock.
Yes.
A couple times.
Yes.
Would you be impressed if I tell you that was Landis's first movie?
Yeah. I actually just got a friend of mine gave me a Blu-ray of the Arrow video release of it, and I just saw it. I mean, I've known about the movie for a long time.
Yeah, that was his student movie, I think.
I'm not sure if it's student in origin. All I know is it's fucking 1971.
Yeah.
So it's like it's his first movie. I think it's one of Rick Baker's first, if not his first, designing the Schlockopolis or whatever the formal name of it is. It's a corny little horror spoof, but it's fun, it's fun.
Yeah.
I like schlock, and I like schlock.
Have you been through the it used to be, what's it called now? Mopop?
Yeah, Mopop.
What was it? What did it used to be called?
It used to be called the EMP.
Yeah, EMP. I like EMP better.
Yeah. Well, rebranding. What the hell?
I don't like it.
Yeah.
Kids and their rebranding.
I know. I say Mopop. It's always it's an EMP to me. Are you talking about the Can't Look Away, the horror exhibit? Yeah, I've been a few times.
We love going to that, Lori and I.
Yeah. It's
Do you ever
awesome.
do any of the camp out cinema showings?
Yeah, actually, I hosted the Camp Out Cinema screening of Suspiria a couple of years ago, which was a lot of fun.
Missed it.
Oh, dude, that was the biggest screen I've seen it on, which was awesome. I mean, I've seen that movie many times. Anybody who knows me knows I'm a massive fan of Suspiria. And
Well,
Dario
you love
Argento.
Giallo in general.
Absolutely, yeah.
Actually, the panel that you did with Crypticon last year about Giallo was the one that got me kickstarted
Oh, good.
on watching them. And right now on my Amazon queue, I have, I don't know, like 6 or 7 that I haven't
Dude,
seen yet.
there are if Amazon Prime, if their quality of their streaming was as good as Netflix's streaming, I'd be all in on that. My Amazon Prime stream, like it's just piss lousy.
It's not good.
It's not good. It just keeps on kicking
You
out.
know what that means?
It
You're gonna
means-
have to pay.
Yeah,
You're gonna have to pay Comcast for more bandwidth.
probably. Although I'm already paying for a high speed connection. So,
What's high speed?
I'm not sure the stats. All I know
Do you
is they
do a
charge
speed
me
test?
they charge me an extra $11 a month for high speed.
Oh, you're probably only getting like 50.
Yeah, probably. Thanks, Trump. But anyway, aside from my issues with the streaming, let's just dump some water bombs on that there French building that's up in flames. That won't destroy the fragile wooden structure.
But baby Jesus wanted that cross to be saved
Yes.
and the stained glass to be saved.
Thank you. Yes.
And so,
But Amazon, Giallo. Yeah. I was on there, you could go down deep rabbit holes on Amazon Prime.
They have a
and
lot.
I have on my Netflix or my Amazon queue right now, I've got probably about 40 spaghetti westerns, like super obscure ones. And then I've got
Sergio.
yeah,
What's his name?
there are a couple of Sergio Solimas. There's Sergio Corbucci, who did the first Django, actually the first couple of Django movies. Yeah, he's done a bunch of them. Enzo Castellari, who, all these like journeyman Italian directors did these types of movies, and then they did the Gialli, which I've got about 40 Giallo titles stacked up on Amazon Prime too. A lot that I have never seen. So
Wow, that you haven't seen.
yeah. There's
That's
a few on there.
interesting.
Yeah,
Does Amazon Prime let you make playlists that you could share?
I don't think they do. Because God, I would sure love to do that.
I would totally subscribe to your playlist.
That's what Letterboxd is for, actually.
I don't know.
I
what
just
Letterboxd is.
now joined Letterboxd. It's basically a social media thing for movie nerds. So you can catalog all the movies you've seen. You can write little capsule reviews. You can create lists.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty
an
rad.
app or a website.
It is a website, and I think they have an app for it. But
Okay.
I just now have started scratching the surface of that. I've only been on for like a couple of weeks, and I think I've done 2 or 3
Letterboxd.
reviews. Yeah, Letterboxd. It's Letterbox''D.
I was about to do a sound effect of me typing on here. The last time I did that, I messed this whole recording up.
Okay, we don't want to have that happen.
We don't want to hear.
We can go.
Letter box.
What you need to do is moisten your fingertip and then drag it over the surface of the
Will
glass.
it do anything?
If it's crystal,
No, this is not crystal. We got this at
Yeah.
Taste Washington.
oh darn it. Well, even if it's not crystal, it might make noise.
China.
But anyway, but Giallo, yes, I love Giallo. I think they're
I've only seen Suspiria one time, and that was not that long ago.
uh-huh.
I haven't seen the new one.
The new one's interesting. I still have issues with it, but I've only seen it once, and I think I really want to see it a second time because there's enough of interest in it. There are enough interesting things that they're doing in it to where I just may not get it. I may not have gotten it.
Huh.
You know.
Who directed it?
Luca Guadagnino, I think is his name. He was an Oscar winner for Call Me Your Name? Call Me by
My Name?
Yeah.
That coming of age movie?
Yes, exactly.
That's funny. So he went from that to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty trippy. But
Yeah,
hey, he's Italian. So, but yeah, it's an interesting, well, first of all, it's bladder testingly long. It's like 2 hours and 40 minutes, I think. And that's like, epic. And it kind of doesn't need to be.
Well, the new Avengers is
3 hours. I
and
heard, man.
like 15
I heard.
minutes.
Good heavens above. Do not drink anything prior to the screening.
I'm like a camel. I can go like 2 days.
Oh, dude, I envy that. I envy that gift. My beverage of choice that's non-alcoholic, which again, by the way, thank you for the wine. My alcoholic beverage of choice is water. So I tend to
Like straight water?
straight water. I
I
just
can't drink straight water.
really
No, I
wow, a cold glass of water. It's terrific.
have to put Crystal Light in it.
You're not the only one.
Love Crystal Light.
There's no flavor.
Just
here.
a little bit.
Okay, just a little pinch.
I get
What's your position on La Croix?
No. It needs vodka.
It is a damn fine mixer, I found.
Hey,
Yeah.
I've seen Mad Men. Are you a fan of Mad Men?
The TV show?
Yeah.
Yes.
AMC Mad Men.
Yeah.
I've seen Mad Men maybe 4 or 5 times all the way through. I love Mad Men.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that they have a bar in their office.
Oh, man.
And I
That's
love
right.
the fact
Yes,
that
yes.
they can drink at 10. So sometimes when I have a slow day, like a day that I pick just for editing,
Yeah.
like so I take pictures, I make movies,
Mm-hmm.
and it's that stuff is fun.
Yeah.
Like taking the pictures and making it, like
Yeah.
shooting it, and that's all fun.
Absolutely.
What sucks is the editing.
Yeah.
And I'm a slow starter,
Mhm.
but a nice vodka tonic at 10 in the morning to get things going.
Those of us who work day jobs in an office and don't have that freedom envy you.
See, but if you were in Mad Men time, you could have your bottle in your office.
Thank you.
Then it would be cool.
And I'd be hanging in a swanky ass suit the whole time.
That's right. And you can
know.
smack your secretary as she walks by.
Well, that I'm not so worried about. But yeah, I'm a sucker. I'm totally metrosexual, by the way. So I love wearing. I love doing the dress shirt and tie thing.
Oh, if I were skinny, heck yeah.
You
I
don't,
have.
you don't have to be skinny to rock it, Carlos.
No, you do.
No.
You do.
Dress shirt and a tie looks good on any guy, any size.
No, because you do it wrong. You look like Chris Farley in that Saturday Night Live episode. You're this far away from being in a van down by the river.
Duly noted. Duly noted.
Right. No, you need to. I have 2 suits
Okay.
that when I fit it here, I'll have to show you what I look in them. I'm going to show you what I look like in my suits. And then I'm going to tell you that if I put that pant on right now, it wouldn't even go over my leg. And the only reason I keep this photo is to torture myself.
Ah. Whoa.
And that was only 3 years ago.
Holy wow. Well, I'm digging the jacket. It's just an awesome jacket, man. Well
That's
played.
the Ryan Seacrest collection from me. And you know how small Ryan Seacrest is?
Yes. He is wee.
I was a svelte, like 220 pounds in this picture.
Wow, what a trip. Well, you're still a damned handsome man, Carlos.
No. 40 just kicked me right in the face.
40 kind of did that number on a lot of us, my friend.
40 just took a huge steaming dump right on my face.
Yeah.
Did I tell you about my foot?
Yes, you mentioned. This is related to your toe, which
Yeah.
was related to your possible case of the plague.
Yeah.
Captain Trips.
Like if this had happened when I was 39, I would have been fine.
Yeah.
But 40 said, not only am I going to give you the sickness I'm going to make your foot twice as big as what it should be, and then you can't walk for 3 days. It sucks. Well, okay, all right.
That's very horror movie, actually. By the way,
You know,
And
I
speaking
could do
of
something
which-
on there. I wrote it's not really a horror movie, but I wrote a suspense movie. I should give
about
it to
a
you
guy
so you
with a
could read
swollen
it.
foot,
I should
a guy with a gout. Oh, that would be a great film noir title, The Man with the Gout.
some monster pops out of it.
Oh man, that'd be great.
But you like get a big ball if you have the gout. I used to work with the guy who had gout, and he had like this big buildup on his wrist.
Ooh. So he had wrist gout.
He had wrist gout.
Oh, that's crazy. My dad deals with it sometimes, but it's all in his like legs and feet.
Like no like animals pop out of it.
No, as of yet, not that I know of. I mean, I don't see my parents too much, despite the fact they're only 40 miles south of me. But yeah, my dad's never, to my knowledge, had any animals or crustaceans or anything like that burst out of his gout. So.
My dad has a
I like all the little tributaries this conversation's taking, by the way.
I don't know what tributaries means.
Like little branches of the river.
You know, that's how it usually goes in a conversation with
Amen.
me.
Hey, I dig that. That works for me.
There's just so many things to talk about.
Exactly.
But you know what?
So,
Let's talk
anyway.
about this. All right.
Yes.
So I have a few friends that are new to horror. You know what makes me for some unknown reason, I like to surround myself with mid to late 20-year-olds. I think that's the masochist in me. Like, why do I do that? They're all idiots.
Oh, I cover a fair amount of like local music shows, and it's starting to get to the point where my middle-aged ass is in the amidst all these, millennials and 20-somethings, and it's like, you can feel your bones creak when you're in that particular
Millennials are
place.
the worst.
I actually
Tell me about these the places where you write for.
Well, I currently am the editor-in-chief and one of the key contributing writers for a website called artisthome.org, which is a music website. And Artist Home is a PR company that does the Timber Music Festivals in the winter and the summer, and it also does Dobay Fest. It's very well known for kind of its outside the box programming, and I get total freedom to basically write about whatever I want, which is awesome. And it's mostly Northwest music.
Okay.
For 9 years, I wrote for City Arts Magazine and website, which was a pretty well-known arts and culture magazine that was a monthly for about 9 or 10 years. Rest in peace. It recently went under.
Like their website's still live.
Yeah, their website's still alive. You can still read our content. We're just not putting anything new in it.
Oh, I see.
And let me see. I'm also writing and doing podcasts for a website called cityofgeek.com with a couple of wonderful cohorts of mine.
Who are they?
That would be Bob Foster.
Oh, I know him.
Yeah, Kim Douthit and Cody Masco. Who is also a huge Italian horror fan, by the way.
He is. He was on that Giallo panel.
Yeah. But yeah, so I do those. Let me see what else. I used to write for a website called thesunbreak.com. I just started kind of freelancing for Crosscut, which is a largely news website, but they're starting to kind of beef up their entertainment coverage, and that's kind of my bailiwick. I covered Northwest film for about 9 or 10 years, and so I'm pretty steeped in that, and it's a great time to be kind of observing film and music in this town because there's a lot of really amazing stuff happening. There's a lot going on at once. The technology is enabling people to make good movies and we have a pretty robust regional film scene in spite of the fact that there's not a huge amount of city or government support.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Well, there's not support for anything in this city.
That's everybody wants to experience the art, but nobody wants to pay for it. And that's not me getting on a high horse because God knows, we all love to get shit for free. So
I'll need to intersect my complete disdain for the Seattle City Council here. Done. I'm going to vote for that dude that did that thing at the shop.
Oh, right on.
Because he's going up against that Kwarma Schwantard.
Kshama Swant. Yes.
Yeah, her.
Yeah. She's, one thing I will say for her is she speaks her mind. I was at a city council meeting, actually, me and a bunch of music fans, local musicians, rock writers like me, went to the Seattle City Council when they were putting up a motion to kind of extend the life of the Showbox Theater in downtown, which is like an 80-year-old building that hosted like Cab Calloway and jazz musicians of all stripes way back in the day. And it's like everything else in Seattle, it's under threat of demolition. And the Seattle City Council gave it a stay of execution when we all kind of gathered en masse for that meeting. But the main point being, I got to see the Seattle City Council in action. And the one thing I will say for Shawant is that she gave no quarter, and she called everyone on their bullshit. And there was a fair amount of that, it being a political entity. Yeah.
So the Showbox is safe for the meantime?
For the moment,
I'm going to tell you another story.
Oh, please do.
So I had one guest who, as we were talking, he would say something, and then I would want to tell the story, and then he would flat out say, "No, this is all about me." I had to bite my tongue to say, "This is my show,
dude." Yeah. It's your star vehicle, Carlos. You're the lead. We're all supporting actors.
No, but I do have a super cool. I do have a super cool story about the Showbox.
Yes, please.
Which is why I love it, and then I would support whatever it is to save it, because that's good. We don't need another condo building there.
Amen.
So a few years ago, I went to the gym, went back home, got home about 10 in the morning. My wife sends me a text message, and then she says, Foo Fighters are having a surprise concert. Tickets will go on sale at Showbox Market at noon. I race down there. I'm in line for 8 hours.
Jeez.
But the coolest thing was that at some point, like at 3 or 4 in the afternoon, someone from the Showbox came with their little clicker and was clicking. Yeah. He gave me a wristband, and then he gave the person behind me a wristband. And then he looked at the person behind her, and he said, "There is a 90% chance you guys aren't getting tickets." And then he just left.
Oh my God.
So 6 hours later, I'm at the front. I'm at the box office. I buy 2 tickets, $50, 2 tickets, because they're $25 a piece.
Oh, wow.
I pay for them. I hang back a little bit. The girl behind me, she buys her ticket. And then the person behind her, they say, "Nope, we're sold out."
Jeez.
So this was the year that Foo Fighters did a surprise. I think it was a Thanksgiving, near Thanksgiving. They only sold 600 tickets.
Whoa.
200 at Showbox Pike Place Market. 200 at Easy Street, and 200 someplace else.
Oh, wow.
They sold 600 tickets.
Jeez.
And Foo Fighters played for 3.5 hours.
Holy crap.
And Foo Fighters is one of my absolute favorite bands.
Well, and they had, even at that point, they probably had a deep back catalog, so they could play a 3-hour set.
No, this was at the beginning of their Sonic Highway. So they played everything. And I was within 20, I was like 15 feet away from Dave Grohl.
Jeez. I love that theater because it's like, it's big enough to where it feels substantial, but it's still intimate enough to where you can pretty much sit any place in the house and
Yeah.
not feel like you're too far away.
Yeah, it was so cool. It
Yeah.
was like I will never ever forget that.
That's awesome.
I stood in the same place for 3.5 hours. Dave brought the original members of his band when he was in Virginia. They were there.
Oh, the Scream.
Yes.
I think that's the name of the band. I'm not positive.
Yes.
Time to hit the web. Time to find out.
They were there. It was just so much fun. And then we saw Foo Fighters again at a festival in Walla Walla. But it was huge and I was
course.
way back, but it was fun.
Yeah.
But like, how awesome is that? Your very first Foo Fighter experience, and
Is in that
like
theater.
I could have thrown something at Dave Grohl and my aim would have been perfect and hit him right in the face.
Wow.
Well,
Thank you
anyways,
for
yeah,
not
save
doing that, by the way. I've seen a lot of great shows at the Showbox.
That was
Jesus.
the only time I've been there.
Oh, yeah, it's God, who have I seen there? I saw Bo Diddley there eons ago, and Mudhoney opened. That was great.
Every now and then, I think I want to start getting into Mudhoney, but then I don't.
It's
I probably should.
I love them. I mean, they're basically like Seattle's version of the Stooges.
Yeah.
It's just like it's proto garage punk that just and they're phenomenal live. I think that's one of the things that I think people who are fans of Mudhoney, the thing that sells them is seeing them live because they are a terrific live.
Do you remember
band.
when they played on top of the Space Needle?
Oh yeah.
We lived across the street.
Oh,
We
right
lived
on.
in a condo across the street from that.
Right on.
And I remember seeing helicopters because I've been working from home forever. I haven't had an actual
Like an
regular
office job.
like an office job
Well,
in
good for you.
a super duper long time.
Those
But
of
I
us who
remember-
toil, salute you.
I just like I would murder everybody if I had to be in there. But I remember hearing helicopters and then thinking, what the heck is going on? And then going outside on our patio and then seeing, like I could see people on top of
Yeah.
there and then they're flying. I'm like, that is super cool. And then I turned on the TV and
There's
it was-
Mudhoney
it
on the
was
Space
Mudhoney
Needle.
playing. I'm